It is 9 a.m. here in Los Angeles. Wednesday, September 10th, AD 2025. And I thought I was going to have a guest today, but I'm such a boomer. It's completely my fault. He will be on tomorrow. It was a miscommunication on my part, or really I was remiss. What a mess. Shout out to Dylan Burns and Danabo, his producer slash interactor guy. Shout out. Catch you guys tomorrow on the Hake Report. Very cool. The views expressed on this show do not represent Hake. I don't even represent myself. If you can believe it, or even if you can't believe it, it's still true. All right? So calm yourselves down, you know. So I had closed down my Suno because I thought that I was going to be having to, and in fact, I was remiss in reading in my duty to read the super chats yesterday. That was ridiculous. Talk about unaware or something. So let's do that right now, shall we? Do you mind? Before we get going here? If we mosey on down to the hakereport.com. I had read these from Popcorn. Let me go in reverse order because I shortchanged. Is short shrift something bad? It's certainly not good to do. Cesar Caesar, 3 coffees. Sup? Hey, due to my helping my boomer coworker troubleshoot some tech stuff, I missed the first 36 minutes of your show, man. SMH shaking his head. This is yesterday. Well, I missed my whole show, apparently, because I didn't even read your super chat yesterday out loud, or even in whole. Why is this thing not responding? Okay, there we go. As always, I will podcast what I missed after you finish. Great. Another coworker just called me to vent about this other coworker and made me miss most of your call with David from Ocala. And he's a favorite of Caesar or Cesar, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have anything of substance today, but my support. Have a great day, everybody. Smiley emoji. Thank you, sir. Yenrik Yagoda, 3 coffees. Hey, you complain Mexicans move into Tyrone's neighborhood, but now China moving into Jose neighborhood in SGV, San Gabriel Valley. Yeah, they also took over the Whites neighborhood too, Arcadia, which is SGV. Jose cannot afford anymore, just like Tyrone, he can't see color. This is the cycle of life. Soon, I don't know if I can say this out loud. I was concerned about saying it on a stream on which Dylan Burns appears. Pajit. I don't know if is Pajit just a plain old slur? I'm not familiar with Indian stuff. Pajit is I'm having trouble with my trackpad right now. It is an ethnic slur. Oh, Lord. It is an ethnic slur directed at Indians, particularly Hindus and Sikhs. The term first appeared on 4chan, 2015. Came to be used more widely. All right. So it's a Hindi word, I don't know, blah, blah, blah. Hindu phobia. Rutgers University. Invented Indian-sounding given name, originating from the Pajit, my son meme, created on the 4chan message board. Hindu American Foundation. Pajit is a word often filling up our timeline we always block, says Hindu American Foundation. You're cutting out people who you might have cut out Asmodor. Not that Asmodor is allowed on X. Rest in peace. A reminder that Pajit is an ethno-religious slur referring to Hindus and stuff like that. So, Lord, we can't say anything. I didn't really grow up with that term, okay? So I didn't really know India people like that. I was like, New Delhi, sandwiches. For real. I was a kid. I didn't know. Hindu phobia glossary. Lord, they know more. They're teaching us how to come up with the words, how to use the words to hate them. Hindu America Foundation. This is like the ADL of the Hindus or whatever. I learned more about what the whites supposedly think and believe better than what the whites actually think and believe from the ADL, Un-American Anti-Defamation League, whatever. So anyway, Yenrik says soon I guess India people, JD Vance's in-laws, will move into Chinese neighborhoods and replace the Chinese. Oh, cool. Nice. Wait. Oh, I don't. Oh. Oh. Oh, okay. So he's. Oh, so he is coming on. Oh, okay, nice. Oh, sweet. Okay, nice. Sweet. Thanks, Danabo. Let me put Danabo on the air. Hey, Danabo, you're on air on the Hake Report. What's up, man? Real quick.
I'm good. How you doing, sir?
Doing well. So Dylan Burns can join us after all, huh?
Yeah, he's ready now.
Right on, man. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks again.
All right. Yes. Thank you,
Take
sir.
care.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye. Wow. So then can Anchor Baby come in and put him on air? Because I'm a boomer. I don't know how to do this. Unless you know how to work the Discord and put it on this thing. But I don't think you learned that. Nice. Maybe Dylan Burns. Maybe the Anchor Baby can make magic happen. Okay. So anyway, thank you, Yenrik. Yeah, I know that the Asians. I was complaining about the Asians taking over, actually, Yenrik, long before I realized that the Mexicans were even not just simply whites with a tan. Anyway, Gregatron says, thanks for having me on your little show yesterday. Pinocchio's Helicopter, new song, check it out. Thank you, sir. I shall check that out later. I'm afraid to open it because, I don't know what it might be saying.
This song is so good.
Modern day Booker T. Washington. Okay, thank you. I shall save it to watch later. And sometimes I do peruse my watch laters. Popcorn, while we're waiting for Anchor Baby, hopefully we can get him to get Dylan Burns on. Popcorn. Popcorn yesterday, I read his super chats. He was saying that, you know how I support broken windows policing on so-called blue-collar crimes. The real crimes, right? Such as, like, stealing, breaking and entering, stuff like that. Yeah, can you put him on air after all? Because he is coming on air.
Oh, what the?
Yeah.
I just saw the stream. Sorry.
Nice. Thanks, man. Yeah, it was like a last-minute thing. Totally unprofessional on Hake's part. It's all my fault. It's not Anchor. It's not Dylan Burns. Not Anchor Baby. It's not even Danabo. Definitely not Danabo. Okay. But this guy is suggesting / hinting that Donald Trump's investigation and prosecution is broken windows white collar crime policing. But Trump's supposed crime, I have no way of knowing that it was even a real crime because nobody's been able to explain it to me in a way there where it actually did any damage or anything, where it was even dishonesty. Nobody even said that it was even dishonest what he did. They called it, fraudulent business records, something like that. But it wasn't even an actual crime that did any damage to anything, and it wasn't even an actual crime that I can tell. So it was clearly a witch hunt. So the conviction of Donald Trump, I already know that I have no way of trusting this conviction as being real, Popcorn, because it was done in a liberal court by liberal prosecutors, black prosecutors, who themselves are suspicious suspected of doing wrong things, and even they're just politically motivated, So I have no way of of knowing or believing that Trump actually even did any crime. So, yes, it was a targeted thing, and it was not only was it targeted, it seems like it may have been a fake crime. It wasn't even a real crime. But the jury's so anti-Trump, find me an unbiased jury member in regard to the Trump thing. You either love him or hate him. There's literally nobody who's unbiased on the Trump thing. Everybody's poisoned, either for or against. Nice. So that's the situation there, buddy. And then Trump saying, "Oh, they were born for it." I think it was like an exaggeration in terms of to be criminals. That's kind of like an exaggeration to indicate that the way that these people are raised and born into, they were born into their situation. So don't take it too seriously. Popcorn. It's kind of like JLP saying they were created to destroy, referring to certain people created for destruction, created by Satan. All right? Hey, which type of poison are you? Clearly, I'm poisoned for him. I have an emotional response when somebody attacks Trump unjustly. You know how whites hate whites and conservatives, we hate it when you lie to us. Whereas liberals and blacks hate it when you tell them the truth, and women hate it whites and men and conservatives hate it when you lie to us. We hate it when you lie to us, and then women and blacks and and liberals hate it when you tell them the truth. That's why they hate Trump, because they hate Trump for telling the truth. They call him a liar as if that's anything. Everybody's a liar. Let God be true and every man a liar. So clearly I'm biased for Trump. And I do not deny it. Beta male, LOL, says Baldman54. Yes, indeed. I have to get started, guys. This is the Hake Report, and Anchor Baby worked his magic, and Danabo and Dylan Burns worked their magic, and so we're going to get going here, guys. Let me see. What did I just do? Supersource. I'm a boomer. What am I doing? Turn off that thing. What am I doing? What am I doing? Oh, yeah. Studio 8. Yeah. Okay, so whatever. Anyway, guys, let's just get on with the show. Let's see if it works.
1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
Hang on!
Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report. The Hake Report. La la la.
So, guys, how y'all doing? I'm fine. Nice, for real. And we're having a loosey-goosey, nice, magical, the Hake Report show here over here. And I have with me the great, can you unmute him because I'm a boomer? The great Dylan Burns is back, and he is back. And I said he wasn't back, but he is. And it's all my fault. What's up, Dylan Burns?
Happy to be back. We had some technical difficulties. The carrier pigeon you sent didn't exactly get to me. The smoke signal I sent didn't get to you, but looks like the magic made it happen.
Yeah. Are you part American Indian? or anything?
You know, my father always said that, oh, we're related to a Native American princess and, Cherokee Indian, but, you just think people are telling tales.
Yeah, totally. It's coming in hot over on my earphones. Am I a boomer? No, it's sounding. It looks like it's sounding okay on stream. It's just coming in loud. Okay, yeah. So my mother, I felt like my mother said, no, I felt like my dad told me that the doctors found Indian blood in my grandpa when he had a health scare when I was a kid. I don't know how doctors can find Indian blood in you. And so we all marched around and said, hi, ya, 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 hi, ya, ya, ya. And it was like we were serious. We were not mocking. But now it sounds funny. And I pretend like I think that it might have been a dream, but I really don't think it was. And he won't tell me if that was real or not. And my mother said that my great-great-grandfather was almost burned at the stake. And would that have been by Indians or would that have been by somebody else? American Indians. So anyway, I have no idea. But I just thought
it is weird when you have some really like early memories. It does all feel like a dream when you think about it.
Right. Because it's so surreal to think about your family doing this. It was before political correctness, so I don't know, we wouldn't have known any better, quote unquote. I thought of it because of your hair, and you talked about smoke signals and pigeons and things. And
you just thought I was sending enough signals. You were like, well, maybe.
Right. Are you still in Ukraine?
No, I'm in the States, but I'm heading back to Ukraine this weekend.
Okay, man. I saw one of your, or I listened to, actually, one of your documentaries on what's going on over there. The human safari one.
Yeah, the one in Kherson.
Yeah, where the Russians are having a heyday. They're just having a good old time operating these drones from somewhere else, like it's if it's a video game, and just taking out and harassing and taking out and injuring and maiming random Ukrainian civilians, I guess, in Kherson, which is a city over there.
Yeah, Kherson is in southern Ukraine. It's also where that big flood happened when that dam exploded, when the floodwaters rushed in. That's when I first went to Kherson. The Dnieper River, which goes throughout all of Ukraine, kind of cuts the country almost in half. It runs right through it. And the Russians are on the other side. The Ukrainians pushed them out in late 2022. It was the last massive military defeat that the Russians took. It was the only regional capital in Ukraine they captured for the entire war, and then the Ukrainians pushed them out of it. And so the Russians obviously feel kind of a pain with that they took this loss, that they had to retreat over the river. And ever since then, they've been shelling over the river quite consistently. When I was in the city after the Novokakhovka Dam exploded, they were shelling the city within 48 hours while evacuations and humanitarian, trying to get the elderly out of their homes because they couldn't evacuate in time. While that was still going on, the shelling was happening. But as time has continued, it's been these drones that have become notorious. The locals kind of refer to it as a human safari, a hunting of humans. It depends on who you talk to, how they exactly phrase it. But the best English translation is human safari. And essentially, drone teams look for any sign of life and they hunt it down, and then they post footage of it online. And that's what's really bizarre about that documentary is when I go to people and I tell people what's happening in Kherson, a lot of people think it's tall tales. Like, why would they be blowing up random fire trucks? Why would they be blowing up random ambulances? These aren't pushing back the Russian army, but it's the Russians often posting the footage of it themselves as if to send a signal of some sort, as if to communicate something to the civilian population. And since I've released that documentary, human safari style attacks have only increased. Whoa. And the range of them has gotten larger. Before, we were just talking about in the city, but as of a week ago, there were drones, FPV drones, hitting 30 to 40 kilometers down the road through Kherson. So that means even coming into the city is now potentially deadly. An elderly couple were hit while they were trying to come into the city just a week ago.
So based on what I was watching from your documentary about this, it sounds like they just want to scare the people out of the city so that they can just have it. and not have any civilians to deal with.
That's one interpretation. That's something that I subscribe to, but I don't want to. I'm not in the Russians' head. I can't say I saw some document in the Russian.
Right.
It could be that, and there is some military and, of course, like ideological justification for it. The Ukrainians, when they took back the city, people came out with flags, people came out with flowers, people were very happy. And so, from the Russian perspective, a lot of them think like most of the ones who were with us already left. The ones that are left are the ones that we don't really, they're that not really with us, and so they use this to type of kind of justify the action. But also, if all movement in the city is military, if they can get every civilian to leave by scaring them and harassing them, then that means anytime they see any movement, it's military. You don't have to guess, oh, is that a civilian? Is that a soldier? And then you have to like spend time considering. No, and the time you spend considering look like they already went into their home and the target's gone. But if all movement's military, then it's going to make it a lot simpler for drone pilots. It's going to make it a lot simpler for the Russian armed forces. And so there could be some military justification. The big thing that scared me and was a theory I didn't mention in the documentary, but it does bear mentioning, is training. Is that the rumor is, but I can just say it's rumor. I cannot claim anything more. I wish I had more knowledge, but the Russians, I asked them what's going on. They wouldn't talk to me.
Did you really? Like you
the rotation of training units into Kherson. So basically, you're learning how to be a drone pilot. Come to Kherson and hit a dog. Come to Kherson and hit an ambulance. Come to Kherson and hit whatever. And then once you figured out what you're doing, then you can go to the Donetsk region where the Russians are really trying to push right now, near Dobropila, near Konstantinivka, near Pokrovsk, these major spots I've been in this year and I'm going back to in a week. The drone pilots that go to Kherson end up rotating in these directions. So some theories are that they're coming here for training. Other theories is they're trying to get the city to evacuate. Either way, though, the effect is the same, which is, if you walk on the streets of Kherson, there's a good chance you're going to get hunted.
That's crazy, man. War is so interesting and messy. I can barely hear myself. That there's like bound to be horrific things like that where the people are gonna get killed either by malice or by panic or don't know or don't care or whatever. It seems like that's what's going on in Israel, well, in Gaza right now as well.
I know this aid worker called Eugene. We call him Crazy Eugene. He's a very religious aid worker, Christian man who likes to go out and deliver aid to the front line compelled by God, right? He thinks God compels him, and I find his work fascinating, and I've embedded with him on a lot of areas that are now occupied, but most recently on the Konstantinivka axis. And I've seen this guy do some crazy work, evacuate people mid-stroke, like do some really crazy stuff. But the craziest stories is the stuff that he records and shows me footage of, so I know happened. Where there was one occasion where there's a drone like chasing his car, chasing him, whatever, and eventually he just gets tired of like running away from the drone. And he decides for whatever reason to get out of his drone and like wave his hands at the drone to say like, I'm an aid worker. Look at me. Are you a monster? Are you a barbarian? And the drone just kind of hovered there for a bit and then just flew away.
Wow.
Because at the end of the day, like people are human beings. And a lot of times it depends on the individual morality of a drone pilot or the culture of the drone units. In my opinion, like if you're on the streets of Pokrovsk, there's a chance that someone will hunt you like in Kherson, and there's a chance they might leave you alone. So it's dangerous to walk around as a civilian, so people stay underground. But in Kherson, I largely think basically almost every drone pilot in the Russian army there is a monster. Dang. Or that there's such a culture over there that just compels nothing but that. But that type of behavior, I mean, I've seen it in the Sumy region as well. There were like civilian buses that were struck that a lot of local elderly people use because it's really cheap to get into the big city. And, so it's a type of behavior that's it's all around the front, but really bad in Kherson.
There's a lot of mess going on in the world. I have callers who want to talk with you, man. Do you have other documentaries that you want people to know about before we go further?
Well, I in Pokrovsk, there's a lot of fighting going on right now. It's a major hotspot. It's the big city the Russians are trying to capture right now. And I filmed a documentary about that city and the fight for it for over a year. I started outside the gates of Avdiivka, and I followed the front line from there all the way into the city itself when the Russians were attacking it from 3 directions. It's roughly almost 2 hours long. It's a really big documentary. We got some some musicians to take part, make a good, good soundtrack, folk music, good ambience tracks. I'm really excited to release it. So that's going to be a Pokrovsk documentary coming out in the next few weeks. If you want to see something I've done already, I released one on air defense teams 2 months ago, and one on prisoner soldiers. These are convicts who've signed with the army a few weeks before that.
And this is on your Dylan Burns live channel?
Dylan Burns TV.
Dylan Burns TV.
That's where I publish my documentaries.
Okay. Nice. I have some questions, meanwhile, here in the States. You probably heard about the Ukrainian girl who got stabbed to death in that train incident down in Charlotte. Have you heard anything from the people on that side about the situation? What's your thoughts on it? Has
you mean in
Zelensky talked
Ukraine?
about it? No, in Ukraine and whatever stuff that people you're in touch with.
Ukrainians have been warning about the threat of Ukrainians being targeted. Well, now I don't know if this woman was targeted for being Ukrainian. I have no clue at this point. Yeah. At this point, it seems like this guy was a crazed psycho, killer type fella, like somebody crazy fella on the train, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, but Ukrainians have been warning about stabbings and attacks on refugees all throughout Europe that have happened since their people have been displaced around the world. And once you lose that local community and you have to reroute, a lot of that safety, your neighbors know who you are. If you disappear, they're gonna be like, what the fuck happened? Excuse my French. They're gonna be like, what happened? They're gonna be they're gonna go look for you. So there's a type of community that takes care of you. When you're a refugee, when you're a vulnerable person, she doesn't know anybody on that train. If you look at the rest of the people on that train, odds are not many of them knew her because she's a refugee coming to the community. She has no ties to the community. She's starting to build ties to the community. She got a job. She was she was contributing. She was starting to build those ties. So I mean, refugees being targeted and attacks is nothing new. And so that's a topic that we've heard about before. But another thing is this is being it's very strange to see a lot of people who were quite literally a few months ago saying, screw Ukraine. I don't care what happens in Ukraine. Bombs get dropped. People die. War happens. Who cares? Now, all of a sudden, I see a lot of these people be like, oh, why didn't the Ukraine flag people care about this woman, this poor woman, this poor woman? And this woman, it's a horrible tragedy. It's a terrible thing. But I'm wondering, when I see people who would say screw Ukraine a month ago or screw all these people in Ukraine a month ago, now talking about this woman, if she got blown up by a Russian bomb a month ago, then it wouldn't be a bother to them. It wouldn't be a concern.
Right.
Or if the demographics of those involved were slightly different, maybe it wouldn't be getting as much coverage. And so it's horrible what happened. People talking about, trying to make sure we fight against violent crime. I think that's a good cause, but I think a lot of people are not. I don't like how the murder is being politicized and kind of dragged around. And I've heard a similar thing from some of my Ukrainian friends, but I can't speak for all of them, obviously, and they're my friends. So they're the types that would hang around with a long-haired fella like me.
That is interesting. It's true that people have their own pet victims and pet criminals that they want to be mad about, and if you see something that takes place in your own soil, it's a different feeling and situation from some war where mind-numbing numbers of people are just getting killed horrifically in wars. I was thinking about that because I don't know or care about any of the people in Ukraine or Russia or Israel or Gaza or anywhere else, Africa and all these other, Thailand, and the other place, the flanking country that they were fighting with.
Cambodia.
Yeah, Cambodia. I don't know about any of that stuff. I don't care about any. I don't really have a dog in any of those fights that much. I tend to side a little bit more with Israel than with the Gaza situation. And then I'm like, I want Trump to end the wars on both Israel and Russia and Ukraine. And
how do you think he's been doing at that? You think he's been making a good effort?
Yeah, I think he's been doing a pretty good. I would give him a effort credit for sure. It was tougher than he realized, but it's.
He keeps saying that. He says that every few months. It's like every few months.
I think I saw him say
Man,
that.
I didn't realize. I didn't realize this war thing, huh?
Putin is pulling my leg. But just to finish up the point about people, everything is going to get politicized. Anytime any war breaks out in any part of the world, if anybody has any mental dog in that, prideful dog in that fight, they're going to fight about it over here. You saw it with Israel-Palestine ever since a couple of years ago, whenever that was, October 2023. There's people fighting about it over here, and it literally has nothing to do with them other than maybe family members sometimes or friends or whatever. But it's just a mental dog in the fight, like a prideful identification with these different people or against these different people. So you can't, there is no, it's fruitless to wish it wasn't politicized. It just is. And it's just good to have understanding that people are evil and politically motivated or pridefully motivated.
I mean, I think that it's one thing to acknowledge, for example, if a school bus goes off a mountain and, you know, there's a horrible tragedy, I think people saying, don't politicize whether or not these school buses should have seatbelts. That don't politicize the situation right now. Like there's a certain exaggeration that people can use to try to get off critique or like ignore the facts of the situation.
Yeah.
But I've also seen every time there's a shooting, every time there's a terrorist attack, every time there's some sort of tragedy where someone goes off the handle, there's a race. You've seen it, everybody sees it, where everybody's digging through their social media history,
Yeah.
everybody's doing everything they can to say liberal or haha, I knew they were a Trump Nazi or haha, I knew they were, and they do everything they can to dig and not even get to the truth, just get their narrative out faster, right? And it makes it very difficult for anybody who's, you know, not, you know, coming in as who's trying to just figure out what's going on, not coming in with some prepositioned agenda to really like figure it out or figure out what the problem is, or to just like people using tragedies to try to just fill up their jigsaw puzzle of self-victimization. For example, there was like, I saw people talking about like, wow, how many, you know, is this the type of future that Ukraine's fighting for? They have no clue what future Ukrainians are fighting for. None of them are talking to Ukrainians. They're not fighting to get stabbed on the train. They're fighting not to get blown up in their home. It's, you know, they're just kind of bringing it into their pet issue. So I would hope people, you know, they just give it a little bit more prudence, huh?
Yeah, indeed. I guess you just have to be an example of it or just live it yourself and let people be evil. Because there's no, and then just know what you're dealing with so you can kind of cut through the crap a little bit. Because even the media, even like the mainstream media is not unbiased with these things. I go on Wikipedia because it has usually like a good summary of accepted media of what happened a lot of the time. And then when I'm reporting it, I know that I'm not going to get my channel taken down for misinformation or whatever. And I just know going in that they're not going to tell me everything that's necessarily pertinent because it's underreported or whatever. So I just accept that.
When I go to like anywhere, I have to choose what's important when I put a camera in front of it.
Yeah.
If I go to a battle, right, and I film any part of it, I am choosing by putting my camera in front of it. This is what you need to look at. I'm saying that Dimitri is the guy you need to listen to, not Vlad, who has a totally different view, sees it very differently than Dimitri. But you need to listen to Dimitri. By me choosing where the camera goes, I'm saying something, I'm declaring what's important. And I think this is true about all forms of media. It's true about alternative forms of media. It's true about mainstream forms of media. It's just, if we can get the widest aperture possible, that's very helpful. But that also doesn't mean that we just, you know, just building up facts, building up information. We also need to see what's prudent in that, what's important in that. And that's the hard part of a job like a Wikipedia editor is you need to decide throughout the entire life of Abraham Lincoln what's actually important to talk about his life. Yeah. What a difficult assignment that is. And so, yeah, it's going to be very difficult to agree upon.
You know, has Zelensky or anybody else, anybody like officials talked about the train stabbing incident at all? That you're aware of?
It's mostly just, just the same that I've seen usually when these types of things happen, which is, prayers for the Ukrainian diaspora. Nothing besides, I think, like mid bureaucrat level communication about, like, how the family's doing, XYZ, stuff like that.
JLP, his show is right before mine. I'm on his network. He mentioned that, I guess the family or the parents, somebody offered to take her body back to Ukraine to be buried, but they said, no, let her be buried in the States. She loved America. Something like that. I don't know.
That's very sweet.
That. Yeah. Yeah, it is. That was really rough for me to see when the aftermath of the thing, because I sometimes peruse Twitter. I don't peruse Twitter to the point where I see all the atrocities going on in Israel, Gaza, or whatever, if you want to call them that. They are atrocious. But I haven't seen the blood and gore of those I didn't see the blood and guts of October 7th. I have not really seen the blood and guts of the war in Gaza, but I did see like little bits of where this girl, right after she got stabbed, and she's like crying and has her knees up on the seat, and before, I thought that she was out already. When you don't really think about the fact that somebody doesn't die right away when they've been stabbed. It takes seconds or minutes. And so that was tough to see, because you could see the fear in her eyes, and the people don't know or don't really care, don't want to get involved on what's going on. And that's just a brutal scene. That was rough to see.
It sucks because 90% of the time when something like that happens, that's how it goes out, where people think like, oh, I would do something. Most people just freeze up. In a situation like that, where you're on your phone, you're jamming out, you're like, oh man, this Rolling Stones song is, and then you look up and then you see somebody getting stabbed in the neck.
Yeah.
Most people's first instinct isn't Superman, and they like unbutton their shirt and go da 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 and like jump to the rescue. Eventually, if you look at the footage, there's somebody who comes out afterwards, try to put like their shirt under their head or like try to do something to help, but it's too late. She was stabbed 3 times in like vital areas. There's really nothing you could do at that point. But yeah, I wish somebody was more proactive. I hope people in the future are more proactive. I mean, if you're a large crowd and there's one person that's dangerous, there's more of you than there are of them.
What do you think about? Okay, we talked about Trump. We've touched on Trump, and his bringing down of the wars. What do you think of his bringing down the wars and his bringing down of the crime? I'm very for both of those things. I get that it's tough to do. And yeah. Go for it.
Well, we can talk about the wars first.
Yeah.
I don't think he's brought down any war yet. I'll be really supportive when he does. But the examples that are most regularly brought out is, for example, we'll start with the Congo, right? Which is the one that he talks about probably the most, because it's one that's been on and off for so long that he took some pride in it, because he was like, no, people didn't even tell me about the Congo. But boom, I go in and I fix it. He did do high-stakes diplomacy between the Congolese government and the Rwandan government, and they did sit down. They did agree to have the Congolese militias hold back and no longer fight, and the Rwandan government agreed to no longer support the M23 rebels and to stop these hostilities. The problem is that in the last few weeks and months, hundreds of more civilians have been massacred, including like Christians by Islamists by the ADF that Trump didn't even talk about in the negotiations. And negotiations have had now to continue without the United States and Qatar between the M23 rebels that weren't even at the negotiations. One of the big critiques is how rushed the negotiations were. We didn't include parties that were on the ground fighting. We had the sponsor of the M23 rebels, but we didn't include the M23 rebels. They never agreed to anything. We just had the sponsor agree to stuff. So what happened on the ground? The M23 rebels kept fighting. The militias on the ground that agreed on the Congolese government not to fight, of course, was like, well, we're going to fight because, they're fighting us, so we're going to fight them. And hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of more people have died. Wow. Civilians have been massacred, and it's been a particularly brutal part of the war. So when he talks like that we've brought peace, he means that he got a deal prospectively. And then that deal was not held And now the deal, when it comes to the ceasefire element, has completely fallen apart. But maybe one day in the future it will work. It's just until I see it work and civilians stop getting massacred, it's just like a bunch of bureaucrats speak. And, you know, Trump is supposed to be the end of that type of politics where you're a lot of talk and no action, right? And so I want, if he goes in there and he starts to say, okay, now that you've violated this, we're going to get serious about whatever, then okay, then maybe he'll be able to do something. But what's that going to be? He's not going to put troops on the ground. No, Americans don't want to put troops in the Congo. That's not something he's had a conversation with the American public about. I mean, the Iranian bombing was just was a bomb. I don't want to say just a bombing mission, but that was a bombing mission. And we got so little communication about that prospectively in advance of that. This would be ground troop. So what is he going to do? When you go to Azerbaijan and Armenia, that's the other big one that they talk about. That's the one I'll give him the most credit on because they aren't killing each other right now, right? But the Azerbaijani government, while they did agree to be in a peace deal, they said, we agree prospectively, which means we don't agree right now. We agree once the Armenians change their constitution, which they haven't done yet. And so until they agree to do that change of the constitution, until they agree to these little specifics, and the American corridor, which means dedicating American troops to the Caucasus, by the way. I think some people might have not realized that as part of his Azerbaijan-Armenian peace deal, is now we have American troops holding the line between Azerbaijan and Armenia. Until that's put into fruition, until we see that on the ground, and we see the Azerbaijanis say, okay, we're actually going to do this seriously, because the Azerbaijanis have engaged in offensive operations. They're the ones with the upper hand. They're the ones with the power right now. Until we see that, I can't be for sure. And Ukraine, well, we all, I don't think, I've said my piece on that probably, and I think we can all see. And Israel-Palestine, well, you know, that's evident as well.
Yeah, Israel. The only thing that I give him credit for in terms of Israel and Palestine and the Ukraine and Russia is that at least he's talking to Bibi and at least he's talking to Putin. Whereas Biden didn't seem to want to talk to either one of those guys. He didn't even have a good relationship with either of them.
Yeah, but I mean, politicians like talk a lot. And I was told by Trump we were going to have peace before he got in office. Nice. Then I was told 24 hours. Yeah. Then I was told 100 days. Then I was told 2 weeks on like 4 or 5. I don't know why. It's always 2 weeks. I don't know why it's always 2 weeks, but it's always 2 weeks. Like the current red line like counter is like 7. Right?
Yeah.
And at a certain point, it's like, okay, this is nothing but talking.
Yeah, it's interesting. What did you think about Putin coming to Australia? I mean, where is it? Alaska.
Anchorage, Alaska.
Yeah. That was exciting.
Well, I'm not against talking to the Russians. Yeah. I don't know why we did it in Alaska. I don't know why we had to, you know, roll out the red carpet. There's a bunch of impressions I could say about how we did it and ways I would have done it differently. I'm not against talking to the Russians, period. But I am against wasting time. And it feels like what happened in Alaska was a huge waste of time. We didn't get anything out of it. Nothing changed. We didn't seem to get any closer to peace. Trump said in advance of the meeting, if we walk away with it without a ceasefire, he would be disappointed. That was Trump's own standard. I don't know what to hold Trump to, but his own word, right? That's how you should do with every politician, hopefully, even if they all lie. You need to hold him to his own word. He goes in, he leaves it, and he says, we're not even approaching a ceasefire anymore. We're not even going to try to pursue it. We're now just going to go towards a full peace deal. What does that mean? That means no immediate pressure on the Russians to stop firing, to stop advancing, to stop doing anything. It just means we'll keep talking on the hope that one day we can resolve this. That means that there's no pressure to stop the violence anymore. The Europeans responded to it by saying, come on, wait, you know, we need to stop the violence right now. And Trump seems to be kind of on the fence about, you know, whether we're just pursuing a full peace deal, whether we're even still pursuing a ceasefire. When again, before he went into it, he said if we didn't even get it, that would be a disappointment. And now he doesn't even know if he wants it anymore. It's It's discombobulating. And not to mention the fact that originally the meeting was supposed to have an after dinner, after negotiations, like all this stuff that was supposed to follow up between lower level officials to set up towards a peace deal. They had a 2-hour meeting and that was that. They canceled all that. They canceled the dinner with Marco Rubio and all these other officials to flesh all that out. It was supposed to go a lot longer and it didn't. But this also was like a really quick rush job when it comes to setting this thing up too. Usually these types of summits that bear fruit, it takes weeks, sometimes months to like properly set these things up. And this was set up like what, like in roughly like a week?
Yeah, he indicated that this stuff is like urgent to take care of. So I don't know what's going on. I guess people are just intent on fighting, and there's no stopping somebody who's intent on fighting, and that seems to be Putin, and that seems to be Bibi. They're just intent on getting done whatever they want to get done. I feel like both of those guys are in major trouble politically if they don't get a lot done on the fighting front.
Oh, I mean, the thing is, Bibi has gotten much more done on the fighting front than Netanyahu has. I mean, and I'm not a fan of Bibi.
You mean than Putin?
But I mean, Hezbollah has been like smashed a lot. The Iranians, of course, have lost a lot of influence when it comes to the groups that they support in the region.
Yeah.
Hamas is a shell of its former self. Its leadership decapitated, and it's a crippled organization to say the least.
Yeah.
The Assad regime, which was the major passageway for Iranian weapons to Hezbollah, has been toppled. And the government that replaced it hates the Iranians, hates Hezbollah because Hezbollah fought against them, even if the Israelis have now also chosen to fight with them too, because, I guess they run out of opponents and they just need to set up more cans, sometimes.
That's wild. That's interesting, man. Crazy stuff going on in the world. Before I get to calls, let's deal with the bringing down crime in D.C. and perhaps other cities.
Oh, sure.
Don't you love it?
I live outside of D.C. I was born and raised right outside of D.C.
Maryland, right?
My grandfather worked in D.C. at the Bureau of Engraving and Printing. Like the security things on the $100 bill, like the security strips that they started adding on the new bills. That was him. That his department, like he was working on the machines that worked on that. That was what he did. And I love DC. I'm connected by the metro system. I consider it my backyard. I'm a huge Washington Commanders fan. But I don't really think anybody wants the soldiers here.
Redskins?
It's like most locals don't like it. They don't like the National Guardsmen. There wasn't any like conversation with them beforehand. It was just kind of like they showed up one day.
Yeah.
The mayor wasn't warned beforehand. The city council wasn't warned beforehand. They didn't talk to any community groups beforehand. It was just all of a sudden all these soldiers are here. And it's like, okay, what are the soldiers going to do? Because the mayor, due to the fact that DC is like federal land, so it's like the president can kind of get in there and just start stomping around.
Yeah.
At least that's currently what is happening. And due to the fact that they would like some support when it comes to, dealing with crime. They're like, okay, how do we figure this out? But what I've seen is most of the soldiers have been focused around the Washington Monument, the Lincoln Memorial, and major tourist hotspots. I was told that the purpose of this is to stop all the murderers and the rapists and the drug dealers and all the criminals. The rapists aren't at the feet of Abraham Lincoln. The drug dealers are not slinging dope at the Big Pencil in DC. That's not in the Washington Monument. That's happening across the river. That's happening, in Anacostia. That's happening over, and I'm not trying to say that that's the only places that happens. It's just that where they've concentrated the soldiers is near major tourist hotspots. And, where it's the showiest, where you can, that's the Lincoln Memorial. Look, there's soldiers there. So stuff that looks good on cameras. And, just around the D.C. area, just around the federal D.C. area, not D.C. as like a community. And on one hand, a lot of those people probably don't want soldiers patrolling around. And the few times I have seen them patrolling around, like, it seems like they don't really... Like, I see them talking to people on the porch, like, hey, is that a joint? Is that a cigarette?
Really?
Flashlight? Like, I need to see. is that really what they need to be doing? Cleaning up trash is the last thing I saw the National Guard doing in DC.
I saw that too.
So I just don't know if this is a good use of federal resources. You need to coordinate this with locals. The locals don't seem to appreciate it particularly. So, I mean, yeah, there's been a slight decrease in crime, but how long can this be sustained? Is this a permanent thing where we're just going to have troops around DC forever? Like, yeah, if you go and you rush a bunch of money into an area, poverty might go down a little bit. How long can you just spend like $20 billion to bring the poverty rate down 10% if it isn't sustainable, you know? So is this sustainable? And is this going to stay consistent? Because it could be like, you know, you're a criminal. Shit, there's soldier boys about. You're a little scared, but you still need a paycheck. You know, eventually it gets normalized and, you know, things return to normal, especially if they're not hanging out where, you know, most of the crimes and murders are actually reported.
What a mess. Yeah, I was thinking about the fact that that they need, like, to deal with the crime, you need to deal with the root of the crime, and you need to have more cops, permanent police.
People who are trained in law enforcement, not people who are trained in like natural disaster relief and shooting an invading Chinese soldier.
Yeah. But I do consider the crime to be at emergency levels, and that that it's been that way for many generations now. And so people are just kind of used to living with this, living this way, so they don't feel like it's an emergency, even though it is. That's the sense that I get, is that the people who are fighting against this are like, oh, crime has gone down a little bit since last year, so it's not really needed. But it's still at like epidemic levels, and it's just been that way for some decades.
I mean, it's still not as bad as it was in the 80s or 90s. Which would definitely I don't know what else we would compare it to than what it was in recent memory, like 30 years ago.
Yeah.
It is not as good as it should be. I mean, like, I want, you know, Ward 7 and 8 in DC, you know, those are the areas where there's actually the most gun violence. I'm worried about, I remember when I was with the medical workers union, SEIU 1199, in this area that was doing stuff for those medical workers in DC, the worries they had about the trauma center. That's for gun, you know, a trauma center in the areas where there's the most gun violence in DC. It's getting shut down so they can open up a shiny new hospital, but they shut down a trauma center before the new hospital's open.
Whoa.
What's the logic in that? These are the types of things that I worry about when it comes to like DC violent crime, trying to like bring down deaths, these types of local initiatives where, hey, if the federal government hears that a trauma center is going to shut down, what's a better way to service a community that's dealing with crime? Is it to have some soldier boys ask you if you're smoking a joint on your front porch with a flashlight and finding out it's a cigarette anyway, and then telling you Trump's proclamation? Or is it going to be, you know, helping them with the trauma center and talking about where can we do patrols? If we were going to do patrols, where would we be wanted? Where would we be wanted? Where is the crime happening? Like, if they talked with these people in advance, months in advance, where are the drug dens? Where are the criminals? Where are the most reported murders? And then they came in hard on the first day on those areas. Maybe they could have made a much better impression in the DC community. So far, though, the impression has been negative but muted. And I think muted largely because the National Guardsmen have largely been chill.
Right. Nice. Isn't it a shame that they have to pick up trash? What's wrong with this city that they don't pick up their own trash?
I mean, they have city. I mean, most of the time when I'm walking through DC, they have people going around doing it too. I think they're just finding stuff for the soldiers to do.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, if there's certain things they can't do because they're not cops.
Right. And that's partly why they're put on the monuments, I would assume, because there's so many court cases saying, oh, you're not supposed to do police work. You have to just do national type work. And so their hands are kind of tied too.
Policing,
Oh no.
Control cop.
Hopefully this fixes itself. Hold on, man.
I have a lot of enemies there. I can go arrest them all.
Hold on. I think your connection broke up a bit.
Can you hear me okay?
Not quite. It started to say, "Can you hear me?" Terrible.
Let me look on my mic. Maybe that's the problem.
Okay. It's maybe hopefully it'll fix itself. I have it's not the mic though. It's just the connection. It just kind of fuzzed out there for a second.
Gotcha.
I think you're back. I have callers to get to. One quick thing, dealing with the root of the crime. Would you agree with me that we should defund single mothers? Because a huge disproportionate number of the violent criminals are coming from single mothers, and they're raising these people, and it's and their reason that we have so many of them is because we're funding them, and so it's kind of encouraging single mothers, which is a bad situation.
I don't know if we're encouraging single mothers. I think the reason that people become single moms are multivariate. I think, part of it is that we don't have as much, tradition around marriage as we used to.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, this isn't like respected as an institution. You aren't socially isolated if you leave marriage. Like this isn't, it doesn't have the same, codification that it once had. I think that, when it comes to whether the idea of defunding them would do any good, I think that somebody being a single mother is an indication of a few problems when it comes to having one or two household providers. If you have two household incomes, you're going to be able to give more to your kid. You're going to be able to give more to your family. If you have one large enough household income, but in a lot of households, that's not possible to be able to get by where you are on just one household income. And so these mothers overstretch themselves working 1, 2, or 3 jobs, and then they're not able to spend enough time taking care of their kid. And so I don't know if the solution necessarily is to take more resources away from them. I think single motherhood and being raised by a single mother being an indication of being more likely to get involved in criminal activity could be an indication that they don't have the same resources as other people. Even if you are getting government checks, you're not going to be able to be treated as well or have the same resources as somebody in a stable, loving, middle-class household with 2 parents.
But I don't think it's a matter of resources as a matter of poor raising themselves.
I think it's a combination. And I think it's if you're raised by a single mom and, the money is going towards things like, trying to make sure that you have enough food on the table and trying to deal with like $100 here, $100 there emergencies, like a flat tire or this or that. You don't have money to save up for tutors. You don't have money to save up for better, the if you want to do an after school program like band or something that costs money. If you want to do debate club, Model UN, the field trips cost money in Model UN. You got to like pay for your hotel to go to New York and do the stuff that I got to do because thankfully my grandparents swooped in after my mom wasn't able to raise me. Like it gave me some advantages that I wouldn't have had if my mom decided that she was going to, continue to raise me and not, put me with my grandparents. So I think it's a combination of factors. You have more role models in your life, and you have better resources at your disposal.
I really don't see that this after-school activities thing is that important if you are raised.
Which is one factor. It's not I'm not saying after-school activities specifically. I'm just saying when you have more money, when you have more resources, when you have more time to give your children, you're going to be able to invest more in them, both emotionally, both in parenting and raising them and giving them good guidance, good morals, and being able to spend the resources on them so they have the best tools to succeed.
I really don't think it's that, though. I think you've fallen for like a communist take of, like an atheist take of just...
Oh, no. Did I?
Yeah, of where it's
Help
just
me.
materialism and money, where it's not about money and materials and resources and time, because more time with a bad mother is not going to be good for you. I'm sure that there's mothers out there who are just bumps on a log, spending all the time they want with the kids, and they're still raising angry, evil kids because they're angry, evil themselves, and they're out of control with no father to be like a balancing force and instill like discipline and good kids.
I see what you're saying, but I don't think it's just a factor of guidance or good morals, because there's a lot of people with good morals who don't get by very well.
Right.
Or, they don't have the same,
But they're not
they
criminals.
give their kids
They
all the
have a
morals
tough...
in the world,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, if they can't give them some certification that would come with, a certain degree or some amount of, money that could go into a trade school or XYZ, it is going to be more difficult for them. Not unattainable, but it's going to be more difficult. And the more barriers you put between people and things, the less people are going to get to those things. That's not to say that you can't achieve it. This is America, baby. But at the end of the day, you give the plant the best sunlight, it has the best chance to succeed. I just want every child to have the best sunlight.
Right. And so then you don't encourage things through funding, because you fund what you want more of. You fund the homeless, you get more homeless. You fund the single mothers, you get more single mothers. And you fund these criminals, you get more criminals.
You fund, if you have starving kids, you fund food.
But
you
there
fund
are no
food for the starving
kids in
kid.
America.
So what I don't want more of a single motherhood or whatever. That's not something I want to promote.
Yeah.
What I want more of is kids with full stomachs that can concentrate on schoolwork and get out of that situation.
I don't know if they even need school that much. I feel like school has become so important.
You don't know if the kids of single moms need school.
Yeah, they have more. They have like national emergency level need for their fathers, and for
if they don't have a father, where's a place or an institution where one could get a nice male role model?
Uncle, grandpa. I don't know.
I mean, look. All I'm saying is, a school. You've got educated professionals who might look like what the child looks like from their community, that can give them education and possibly some guidance. And in a lot of these communities, those are the only people that are actually making an active effort to look after those kids.
Right. What a shame, huh? What a mess. All right. So let's get to calls. We have a few on the line over here. Let's see. Justin in SoCal is on the line here. I'm talking with Dylan Burns. Dylan Burns TV on YouTube. Dylan Burns Live on YouTube. Dylan Burns 1776 on X. Let's get to Justin in SoCal. Justin, how you doing, man? Thanks for calling.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. Yeah, your guest is amazing. I never even knew about him before, and it was neat to learn, if I heard correctly, that he had a grandfather or great-grandfather who was in charge of the printing of the $2 bill, 1776. Did I hear that correctly?
No, I don't know if it is a $2
yes,
bill.
that's it. You figured it out. Yes, that's it.
Great, because I definitely subscribe to American Native. He has a great clothing line where there's
I don't want to promote stuff. What are you doing?
Oh, okay. Well, I like this shirt, and it has like the motif of when the framers were signing the Declaration of Independence. And I'm grateful.
Are you trolling me,
Dylan.
Justin?
Not at all. Just a thought that I just came up with at this moment.
Well, don't go with thoughts.
Okay.
I thought you had a question for the.
Yes, I do. So the human safari you were also talking about, Dylan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And I was going to talk about that, but because also I had a thought, I'll put that to the side to maybe the end, if I'm allowed to, about single moms, because my mom raised me right, and she listened to the Heavenly Father, and it was a good role model for me. And she wasn't a bump in the log. She didn't take any support, but I did take a little bit of free lunches that the school gave me.
Ooh.
Anyway, so the human safari, to me, equals our modern-day reality of Hunter Games type movie. Okay, in Kherson, Ukraine, I think you said something regarding drones and people can see footage. So I don't like rage porn. I can't stand a lot of violent movies.
Yeah.
But that's probably where we're going to, is people wanting to see things in real time. So, Dylan, what's your documentary name? Is that Air Defense One?
He has three or four or five documentaries. So one is this human safari where the drones were targeting. Sorry, go ahead, Dylan. You can answer it better than me. Go ahead, Dylan.
Sorry, I was just looking something up quick.
Nice.
But no, it's titled Russia's Human Hunting Ground in Kherson. It was published 5 months ago.
Oh, Russia's what?
Human hunting.
Russia's Human Hunting Ground in Kherson.
Okay, I'll check that out.
Kherson is spelled Kherson.
Oh.
Okay, her son. Okay. I just thought a lot of things, but trying to be focused here. I think that it's definitely good for people to know what's going on there, just as long as they don't have self-control. I don't know, but they definitely shouldn't get too caught up in seeing in the eyes of people that are witnessing death around them, because that seeps into us. And the Bible says that we need to we don't want to entertain evil, and we want to be not caught up in whatever we put in our eyes or something, like it can make us impure, And I didn't even know that stuff like that exists, but I definitely think that it's an eye opener for people that need to know what is going on. Just as long as they're not like rooting for people that are killing someone else, because God doesn't want us to kill one another.
Yeah. Evil is real, man.
Yeah. And maybe it's rage porn. Maybe it's just an eye opener that God wants people to know about things. Obviously He allows everything to be for a reason. So I'll check out the Russians' Human Hunting Grounds movie or a documentary. And I did actually see a good movie recently called Caught Stealing. I think it's pretty impactful because I had to see it twice, because the first time I saw it last week and then this week, someone stole my car key and my $4, and then before I could try to, I don't know, even focus on this movie, because half the way through I was just like distracted. I took a little prayer walk around, a couple times to the restroom, and miraculously, I'd say, it returned to me without me having to say a thing to the people to the left of me, that probably or not took it away and then returned it to me. And it taught me that it is not worth it if someone carjacks you, steals your car repetitively, steals a wallet, steals $4, to go on a deep end and be violent. Because I saw that movie. It was very, very violent. I don't watch a lot of violent movies, and it seeped into my mind, my ears, and I was just thinking, oh yeah, this guy took it from me and I got to go after him, but maybe not, But by the time I came back around telling God, hey, whatever your will is, I want this back, but I don't want to pop off, and have these demons win. The angels protected me, and I was able to still get back what I needed without any loss of life, any violence on my part or someone else. God, to me, fought my war for me.
Right on, man.
Okay. Yeah.
Tell us about your upbringing.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm from Indiana. When I came to Cali, it was definitely rough. I came here in '89. Definitely rough. I saw a lot of different gangs. I first started seeing the neo-Nazi type skinheads. They were kind of bullying. They were kind of like just trying to get attention, I guess. And I was always like a latchkey kid. Took a lot of pride in what I needed to do. I had a paper route, did my own money to subsidize whatever was lacking. So my mom worked 3 jobs, but she was not a go-getter, necessarily. She just knew that her Heavenly Father was leading her to take care of me. Never remarried, never asked for assistance. Maybe sometimes the church voluntarily, benevolently gave her aid.
What happened with your dad? Where was your dad?
He was still in Indiana. And then he had
They split up? She left him?
They split up. Yeah, she had to leave him, because of his own alcohol problems. And that just taught me never to really go to that as a form of lifestyle.
So you were raised like Ben Carson, a single mother, but who taught him good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, she kept her ear to the Word. She raised me in the Word. That's how I raised my children. We're still married, me and my wife, 21 years, and to this year. And I feel like that. I know that without feelings. I know that her commitment to the Heavenly Father's words taught me to be a good son. And when I eventually got baptized, I believe I received the Holy Spirit, and I listened to His Son, Jesus, as further guidance. I still want to claim, that all three are important for counseling, for knowledge, and for guidance, through your life. And so though you may not have the direction that
all
you
three
need.
who? All three who?
All three characteristics of God.
Oh, okay.
Because there's power, there's science that can, observe God in one way.
Do you agree with me that we should defund single mothers, or with Dylan that we should not defund them necessarily? That wouldn't help.
Define defunding so I can actually make a statement.
No welfare for single mothers. There's like welfare for mothers, infants, children, stuff like that, something like that.
Yeah, taxes should not be paid to take care of somebody else's family. That should be voluntary. And if you so choose to give to the church, the community, one-on-one, great. But I benefited from student lunches at school. I definitely ate the food. It wasn't the best food. And if it wasn't there, it wasn't like I was going to be without food, but it definitely supplemented the need that I had.
Okay.
So by keeping it there, I can see the point of view that others may see that it helps them. After school programs are great. I just went to the YMCA. That wasn't an after school program. You can go there. There's other programs now, unless that's funded by welfare.
Or
I don't know.
There's just fellow decent
what
kids.
is the YMCA funded by?
I don't know.
What is it funded by, Dylan?
Well, a lot of these like public sports areas are funded by public taxpayer dollars and are attended to by like civil servants. Well, not civil servants, but public, workers.
Then definitely keep it, because otherwise there's just the gang members are going to be playing, or the other disfortunate individuals that have linked up to play ball together, and you're going to get tousled around. You're going to have to. It's going to be a harder life for you. Whereas if you're in a YMCA, it's air conditioned. You got some way to get away. You have an opportunity. So in that regard, I would say,
old people. The Y is for old people.
I would just extend that into the child's life when it comes to basics that you need to succeed in a classroom. For example, you don't go to your school classes hungry. If you go to your school classes hungry, you can't concentrate. You can't focus.
Yeah.
And you're not going to grow. It's not healthy. Your brain doesn't. Your brain literally does not get the chemicals necessary to succeed.
It's the least you can do is to provide a place to eat food while you're going to school, so you can think clearly and achieve a better life. If you cannot, then you might steal food.
Apple doesn't cost much, and oatmeal.
But it costs something, right?
It costs something, but that's what the mother can afford that.
If it didn't cost something, then we wouldn't have this problem where there are kids, like when there's not school lunches or they don't go in school and it's summertime, there's kids that go hungry.
That's
where
the
school
parents'
is
fault.
the time where they get more meals than they would otherwise, and they don't go to bed hungry.
Yes.
That's a shame.
Yes. It's a shame, and that's well,
That's
who's
a
the
shame
shame go to?
That's
the shame doesn't
that the
go to the
government's
child.
funding the school lunches. It's spoiling
shame
the
that they
parents
have
and
to.
the kids.
Yeah, it's a shame that they have to. Right?
They don't have to.
But,
Well, the other option would be letting them go hungry.
Yes.
I mean, until we make it so we have a society where every family is able to provide for their kid in every single meal, then I don't see no problem with the nickel a day they might charge me or something in order to make sure that every kid in my state has lunch.
I totally disagree with this thinking. You're just enabling and spoiling the parents not to feed their kids because they can feed their kids.
But what does that leave the kid? That leaves the kid hungry, and then you're going to continue the cycle. I mean, the goal should be to help the kid, not to punish the parent.
No, if you leave the kid hungry, then the parent either has to feed the kid, or the kid goes hungry and stays home.
I don't think one school lunch is going to make or break this parent's ethical framework for whether or not they should provide for their children.
It does. It definitely does.
Well, I have a question.
But I think it will provide a foundation for a child to be able to get a good learning experience.
It's a foundation for relying on the government in the schools. It's ridiculous.
Okay, I have a question.
We all rely on the government. Hank, you rely on the government.
My mother did not rely on the government.
What's that?
Yes, everybody does. You rely on cops, you rely on firefighters, you rely on soldiers, you rely on judges, you rely on a whole system of the government that keeps us all civil and not killing each other.
Those things don't keep us civil. Go ahead, Justin.
Yeah, my mother never relied on the government, never took welfare, just so you know.
Nice.
And like I said, if it was voluntary, she would accept it. I mean, if it was benevolent and a church might have given something, and if the school offered it and they just found out that I qualified, I'd take it. But it wasn't like she said that this is what you're entitled to. We were never privileged in that, and I was never privileged in the upbringing that I was provided by her, that we need to get what we deserve. And I think that there are individuals that think that, well, we deserve it, but we deserve better. But the betterment of each American, that's what distinguishes us from communism, is that self-reliance. That desire, has to be felt, so that you want to get a paper route, that you want to save your money, not waste it and all that. But without, an opportunity, and you don't see one in front of you, I would say America, you got to create your opportunity.
Right. Did you hear his communist propaganda? He fell for the communism.
No, I did not.
He was saying that we rely on the government in terms of cops and firemen. Therefore, it's fine to rely on the government for school lunches because parents are bums and won't feed their own kids because they're enabled not
It's
to.
not just because parents are bums. It's to make sure that every child is going into the classroom with the foundation to succeed. Whether or not a parent is a bum, a parent could forget to feed a kid one morning. A kid could run out because they were late and they didn't get a school lunch in the morning. Oh, sucks. You don't look. It's an easy thing to give them a foundation to succeed. And you can say it's like a handout. You can call it what you want. You can talk about whether people deserve it. I'm not talking about whether a kid deserves to go hungry or not. I don't think any kid deserves to go hungry. It's not a question about whether anyone deserves it. It's a question about what's best for a civilized society to maintain itself, and well-educated children is the best foundation for any society.
No.
And you should feed them in order for them to have that best foundation.
Which society displays this the most, then, to describe what you were just espousing?
Which society displays this educated society and well-fed young people the most? You're asking?
That puts the burden on the family.
What do you mean? Which that puts the burden on the family?
Yeah, like a socialistic,
so
communistic society or capitalistic. Anyone, yeah. You or...
Well, capitalism is used in communism. It's just used corruptly. So
yeah, Karl Marx did write The Capital.
Right.
You don't want to forget that. This German guy.
So they're not opposites. It's just one is used as a stepping stone to push the other, and that's what he's Dylan is falling for over here, thinking that this is a good thing. We need to feed the kids. But you don't need to feed the kids.
Communism is about workers owning the means of production. It's not whether or not you create a certain amount of social nets and social services in order to make sure that the most vulnerable amongst us, who either cannot provide for themselves for reasons they deserve or otherwise,
I have a question.
To make sure that they're supported. It's not communism. It's something that most countries, if not almost every country, has.
But if you allow people to take care of themselves, meaning don't take care of them, then that is helping them. Not helping them hurts them and just makes more dependent people, more bums.
You think feeding a child will hurt the child?
Yes. No, but you're saying, hey, we'd have less dependency.
Right.
I would like, do you really think that feeding a hungry child before they go to school is going to hurt them?
Yes, because when I was a kid, I fed myself. I knew how to make my own cereal at probably 4 or 5 years old.
The problem isn't that they didn't grab the cereal box off top of the fridge. The problem is that there's no cereal on top of the fridge, Hake.
But that's her fault.
Hake, do you want people to grab it off the shelf of a supermarket?
They're not going to go out squirrel hunting with a 22 to go barbecue something behind the school.
The reason that there's no food, it's in the cupboard, by the way. The reason that there's no food in the cupboard or on the counter or in the fridge is because they don't have to.
The old woman in the shoe,
what happens
right?
when we don't provide them a meal? The
food,
parents still can't get a meal, and now the kid's just hungry. What do we say as a society then? Tough luck?
Yeah, tough luck. Because the kid's going to figure out how to feed himself.
I'd rather not.
Well, it's too bad because you're playing mama on mama.
Because what you're doing, Hake, is you're making more murderers. You're making more criminals. You're making those people Trump scared about all the time. Hungry, frightened kids are the best people to turn into criminals and people who can be preyed upon and recruited into gangs.
Says you.
So my question is who is the arbiter of the production that the worker needs to own? Is it the individual family, the community?
The laborer should decide what the laborer does.
I
What was
gotta
that?
go, Justin. We got to move forward.
Oh, all right. All right.
Appreciate
Thanks for
you,
taking
man.
my call.
All right,
Nice
yeah. Take care.
talking to you. Bye.
Very interesting.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah, it got interesting. Um, William in California, William number 7. What's up, William? Let's try to plow through all these. You okay on time, Dylan Burns? TV?
Oh yeah, I'm okay on time. I have time. I can do a few more callers if you
Okay,
want.
thanks, man. William number 7 of California. Go ahead.
Hey, Dylan. Hey. Yes, this is William. Hey, I happened to notice, I thought I saw a shadow box behind you. Are you a military veteran?
Shadow box.
Sorry, say that again. My hearing's a little off.
Oh, in your background, it looks like you have a military veteran shadow box when you put memorabilia for
Oh,
the
you mean
military.
like the patch wall?
It's a patch wall.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not a
Yeah,
veteran.
Sam.
I work in Ukraine, and so the units that I work with give me patches. And a lot of times soldiers, after I'm in bed with them for a week or two, they'll give me a patch. I'll usually give them like an American patch off my shoulder, like an American flag or something. And I've collected a bunch, but my house burned down 5 or 6 months ago, and I lost over 3 years of patches. And so this is just what I got for my last trip. So it's pitiful compared to what it used to be.
Wow, that's terrible, man. I didn't know you went through that.
Yeah, no,
Well,
it burned down in February. Electric batteries, they are something.
Lithium?
Oh.
Lithium batteries. My brother, he fucks with those electric bikes.
Sorry, kids.
And I didn't know they was charging some in my bedroom, and well, the rest is history.
Were you in Ukraine at that time, or were you home?
No, I had just come back. I was upstairs when the first battery exploded, and then it caused the second battery to explode, and then the whole house was gone in 3 minutes.
Whoa! So how'd you get out?
I ran. What do you mean? I ran out the house.
So you ran
Wow,
downstairs from the second floor.
I ran downstairs out the front door. The bedroom is like
all was
was
in the
under the stairs.
Well, I don't
actually.
want to dox your family.
What were the batteries for?
The batteries for the electric bikes, man. Listen. Oh, sorry. I don't want to yell.
Hey,
You gotta
I
be
was
careful.
just-
You gotta charge
I
them
was just-
outside, or you
I
gotta
wa-
put them in bags.
Hey, I just
okay?
wanted clarity, man.
And also, you
Come
gotta
on.
be careful. No
Give
one
me a
sneaks
break.
electric batteries into your home without you knowing.
So his dumb. Sorry, brother. But we can call it dumb, right? His dumb brother put electric bike batteries in the house where you're not supposed to have it in the house, and it's dangerous, and they exploded.
Okay. I had a friend give me, he made electric bike, and I had to charge him, not in the house, but, and I didn't know, because a lot of the power tools have lithium batteries now, and so I didn't know if one of those
Oh yeah,
Because you never know.
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
So,
man. Go
hey,
ahead.
so, yeah, so I'm a military veteran, and I did 14 years, and so I recognize one of those, it looked like a MAGCOM badge from the Air Force. The one that kind of looks like a heart, not a heart shape, but a shield shape there behind you.
Oh, the shield one. This one
So,
right
yeah.
here. The shield one.
I'm not watching right now because I'm on, I had to pull over because
He's on the road.
I'm a delivery man. So yeah, I was a military policeman from 86 until 2000 at the turn of the
Nice.
millennium. And so, when I looked at that stabbing, I thought that was, it looked like I thought she was on her phone. She was on her phone when she came into the train and sat down, and she wasn't really aware of her surroundings.
Yeah.
So, the scriptures say to walk circumspectly, but scriptures also say that my people perish from a lack of knowledge. And so and then when he says, I got me a white girl, I don't think he knew her nationality. He just was looking at the skin. So I think he was just saying that generally.
Do you think that
So,
he targeted her because she was white, or he just
No,
indicated that white girl?
I don't know that.
Indicating that
Hey,
white
I'm
girl.
just
I got her.
saying. Hey, yeah, from
Yeah.
what he said.
Right.
I don't know what made him say it.
Yeah, we still don't
I mean,
know.
I'm not God.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, basically, I got assaulted one time in a big city when I was stationed at Vandenberg down south, and we had come up 101, and I'd never been to San Francisco, so we had just finished the Bay Bridge tour, And we went to McDonald's to eat right off there, came out the back part of it to walk around. And my buddy, I went to the restroom, and he went out first and started walking down the sidewalk. And I come out, and there's a Hispanic or black guy walking with him in a hoodie, leaning on him. So I come up from behind them and tell him to step off, and he asked me why did I touch him, even though he was leaning on my friend. And my friend, wasn't really a fighter at all. And so I just told him to step off, and then he kept asking, you know me, you think you want to start something? Then I could see he had something under his hoodie, so I thought he had a gun or a knife, so I thought I was dead. So I tried to keep my cool, and I realized my adrenaline was just welling up. And we walked all the way the rest of the block to the stoplight where I couldn't go because of traffic. And I thought, sure, he was going to stab me or shoot me. I was like, and then so I looked to see if I could cross. When I looked back over him, I got a pow over my left eye. He had hit me with a full 40-ounce bottle of MJD. I remember that because I used to drink that in the military. But it was Miller Genuine Draft, and that thing hit the ground, and I looked over at him, and my friend grabbed me and said, let's go. We got to go, William. So we're going across, and I wanted to fight him because I was angry. And then he said, turn around and look, and there were 6 people coming up. They were about 20 yards behind us. They were going to, I guess, finish us off. So I got into the thing, and we called the cops. The paramedics came. They stitched me up. And as the cops were taking my statement, the guy who hit me walked into the place. And my friend said, that's him. They ran after him and didn't get him. So I survived it. And when I was in the ER stitching me up, I just, like I said, I thought I was going to die. And I was actually relieved when I saw the MJD bottle on the ground because I thought he had a gun or knife. So I didn't get really angry. In fact, everybody in the ER wanted to know why I wasn't more angry. And I just said, I'm just thankful to be alive. And, and that's about it. So I never went back to San Francisco after that. So there's that story.
You got to be alert. You have to watch out. And you have to know how to handle people and how not to handle people.
Well, yeah. And so had I not done nothing, but if that guy would have just stayed on my friend, would have just hit him anyway with the beer bottle because he wasn't reacting? I mean, I don't know. Because those guys, I don't know where they came out of, but they came out of somewhere as we passed them because I didn't see.
Do you have a question or a follow-up for Dylan? I have to keep it
sorry,
moving.
Dylan. Yeah, Dylan. So that documentary about the
go ahead, real quick.
Yeah, about the thing about the
the human safari,
the drones.
Go ahead.
Yeah. A question about that, Dylan. Are you listening?
Yes.
I'm listening. I don't know if you can hear me.
Oh, no worries. So my question is, if that's really going on when people play video games and, we're doing stuff like that, what if the people don't even realize they're shooting real people? What if they just think it's a video game? How would we know as a society? No, I hear you laughing, Hank, but I'm just saying, when that guy waved his arms.
I didn't laugh. Said, I'm just remembering this. Isn't that the what's that movie? That's the premise of this. I grew up in a household that appreciated 80s flicks. What was that movie?
I don't remember.
God.
Red Dawn?
Not Red Dawn. There was a movie where the whole premise is it's a video game, and then he finds out at the end it's actually real, and he didn't know he was playing a game the whole time. I forget what the movie was, but the best drone pilots are gamers. The best drone pilots I know go by. I'm not kidding. Go by their usernames on. I knew this one drone pilot in Pokrovsk. His name was Lobster. And I was like, why is your name Lobster?
Yeah.
He was like, that's what I called myself on Call of Duty. That's what I called myself on. That was my screen name. And they know how to the controllers for these FPVs are very similar to game controllers. They have really good hand-eye coordination, which is very useful. Yep. And a lot of these older 50-year-old men, 40 plus 50-year-old men who are signing up, they they're not of that generation, and they tend to not be drone pilots. They sometimes do, but it's the younger people, particularly gamers, who tend to be really, really good.
Nice.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, William. I have to keep it moving.
All right. Fair enough. Thanks for taking my call, Hank.
I appreciate you, man.
God bless you, Dylan. Thanks, and I'll try to check out that documentary.
Yeah.
Thank you. The movie was War Games, by the way. Chat reminded me.
Nice.
War Games. War Games.
Okay, and so they thought it was a game, but it was real, or they thought it was real, but it was a game. Okay.
Oh no, they thought it was the game and it was real.
Dang, that's terrible. That's horrific. Jermaine in Canada is on the line. You're on the line with Dylan Burns, 1776 on X. Go ahead.
Hey, Hank.
Hey,
How are you?
fine.
Nice. What's up, Dylan?
Hello, nice to meet you.
Oh, sorry? I didn't hear
He
it.
said hello. Nice to meet you.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I didn't catch the show a lot there because I didn't bring my headphone to work today. But you guys were touching on cut the funds for supporting mothers, pretty much.
Well, that wasn't the whole topic. That was just a side topic that
Yeah.
I was interested in, and I keep on pushing.
Yeah.
Because I feel that that's anyway. I feel it's a problem that's continuing. A
Yeah,
problem.
Hank seems to have a thing for single moms, which I mean, to each their own.
Yeah. Shout out to single mothers.
I just would put a little 2 cents in on that part. Like, well, yeah, the mothers, they raise criminals, then that's for sure.
Right.
And it starts in the home, right? Where the mother and father, they're not capable enough, and then they rely on the government to bail them out, which is the messed up part, because how did they become single moms in the first place? We have to touch on those roots first, and then go up the ladder.
Right.
You know?
But if you're forced to be responsible at some point, if you're left with no choice but to be responsible is a better word for it, rather than forced to be responsible, then you're going to get yourself together, at least on some level.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and money, you can't say money will play a big part, but not really if they don't know how to raise the kids. Because I was raised on a lot of money, and
right,
I didn't turn out too bad.
That's what you think.
Yeah, that's what I would like to think.
But that's also why a lot of these programs have like EBT cards. You can't like go to the casino and like throw your EBT card down there and put it on black, right? You have to go and spend it in certain ways, and that's why, for example, school lunches, when you give the sandwich to the kid's usually not going to go out back, sell it for dope, and then bring it to mom. That's not, that's why you have those environments where you can provide stability outside of an unstable environment.
What a mess.
I'm not saying I disagree with you, but if we started at the root, maybe most of these programs that we have wouldn't be necessary.
Yeah,
of course, I agree, but right now, starting at the root is Donald Trump like blowing up the Venezuelan drug boat, right? And that's going to take some time. If that's the strategy we're using to deal with drugs and deal with these things that are poisoning the country, well, it's going to take some time. If our method is we're going to blow them up. And in the meantime, there's going to be a lot of kids who have, because of no fault of their own, are caught up in this.
Yeah.
And we need to provide them a cushion so they don't become, not only it doesn't ruin their lives, but it also hurts other people's lives once they go down a dark pathway and it affects other people.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
Go ahead, Hank.
No. I wanted to get off on the drug boat. That was interesting.
Oh, the drug. Yeah, I mean, Trump is trying his best. I mean, it's not really going to change a lot.
I think it will.
We already know people.
Because if you make an example,
people are hard to change.
If you make an example of one alleged drug dealer boat, then other drug dealer boats are going to be like, well, now I have to be a little bit more careful because they're blowing us up now. They're not just
randomly
humanely arresting us and handling us with kid gloves. They're blowing us up. So I think that might be
but
nice...
if you want to like stop the drug operation, you got to put boots on the ground. It's not like the cartels are going to be stopped by airstrikes, right?
Maybe.
We've tried this stuff with the Houthis, right? If you really wanted to dismantle the Houthis, you can't just bomb them endlessly. You got to put boots on the ground. And not a lot of Americans want to put boots on the ground in Venezuela or put boots on the ground in Mexico right now. Definitely when Trump advertised himself as against forever wars, and he won't even dedicate himself to like putting troops in Ukraine, but we're going to dedicate ourselves to putting troops in Venezuela. It doesn't make to me that doesn't make sense.
It might make sense to put, but anyway, I don't want to get off too deeply into that.
Yeah, I see
what
you guys are saying.
Venezuela is directly affecting us, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like we kind of we're You know how my argument basically is funding the single mothers is enabling them. So with funding the Ukraine war is enabling them to just keep on getting killed, like we've talked about over and over again, Dylan.
I don't think that equates. No, I don't. Number one, I don't think we can compare Ukraine to a single mom. I would I would say Ukraine has much more of an old grandpa vibe to me. I would throw out there, but the problem with Ukraine is they got invaded. That's like if you give ammunition to a guy defending against a home invader, you're enabling him in getting home invaded. It doesn't really make any sense. What you're doing by not giving them the assistance that we said we would give them is that you're enabling the home invader, because now there's no incentive for the home invader to run away or come to some middle ground, which you usually don't come to a middle ground with a man who's broken into your home and steals your stuff and kills your family members. But obviously this is a war. Its circumstances are a little different.
Yeah.
But until the Russians feel pushback, they're not going to come to the table. The idea that if we pull back, the Russians will now, it'll get better. No, it'll get worse. The human safari will get worse. The advances into Ukraine will get deeper, and the Russians have so far not been willing to compromise whatsoever. And so I think that the only language that let's be real here, that they speak right now is going to be force. You need to make it so that when the Russian army advances, they advance into a brick wall. And once you slam your head into a brick wall enough times, you start to bleed. Maybe then you consider, well, this is pretty expensive. I think I would rather go home. And I think that's the best way to do it, rather than dragging it out 3 or 4 more years, because we wanted to teach the Ukrainians not to get invaded.
Well, thank you, Jermaine. Real quick, last point.
Yeah, so since we're on the topic of war, I didn't hear your stand on Israel and Palestine. Well, what do you think about that?
Yeah, real quick, 30 seconds or less, or 10 seconds ideally. Go ahead, Dylan. Get it
October 7th was a horrible catastrophe that has led to the deaths of so many people. But Netanyahu is now perpetuating a war that both enables him politically and the radicals amongst him on how to expand and continue the war into countries that did not even aggress upon him. Syria and Qatar being probably the most clear case examples of this. Qatar being a country that Donald Trump is right now trying to get in good with. This was something that was even denounced by Donald Trump. And I think as the Netanyahu government continues to not show an end game, at a certain point you have to say, do you continue to funnel all of this money into a construction project or any project that they have no clue, like, how do we end this? How do we have any idea how we end this? I mean, I hear about all the time, hey, high-speed rail in California, beautiful, lovely. I'd love it. But I hear all the time from conservatives, well, if you don't tell us how we're going to get there and it's so expensive, how can you expect anyone to go fund this or XYZ? And so the same principle has to apply here. The Ukrainians, at least they have they say we fight the Russians until, the Russians come to the table and negotiate, until they listen to Trump. That's a strategy. That's something. You go to the Israelis and it's just fight until, Hamas is gone, which is an idea, but it's much more difficult to, get rid of an organization like Hamas.
So quick thing. If they got rid of Israel, do you think Palestine would have peace with each other? Because they're different groups of different hijab in Palestine.
Do I think if Israel went away, whether or not? Well, I think if Israel left, I think that there's a bunch of unattended to issues, and there would be social conflict within, like, whatever the state would look like if Israel just disappeared tomorrow. But that's not going to happen.
Right.
And so I think we need to figure out how we get these people to live next to each other, because, it's very American value to say that people have a right to rule themselves. And I think the Palestinians have a right to rule themselves. They have a right to self-determination just like everybody else does. It's just figuring out how we can get these people to live next to each other, because it's not like they're going anywhere.
Thank you, Jermaine. I got to run, man. Take care.
All right.
Appreciate it. Let's get to Gus. Goosey? Out of Orlando, Florida. How do you pronounce your name, first-time caller? Gussie?
Gus. You pronounce it Gus.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Gus. G-U-S?
It's a tough one, right? It's a tough one.
Just G-U-S?
Anyway. Yeah, G-U-S. Let's stop being pedantic about my name. I want to know what your research diet is like, because I'm watching this show. I'm watching you react to these world events, these terrible things. I'm watching you discredit young mothers. And, dude, respectfully, you're a bozo. So answer me. How much do you read per day?
Just the CNN morning updates.
So just the CNN morning updates, and you get online, you make your living regurgitating CNN updates. Is that what you're telling us?
No, I don't really regurgitate the CNN updates. I talk about what else is going on, and I just talk with people. And then
But
I
you're like
produce
making
church.
your living at this.
Do you
and
catch
you're
my? Do
doing
you
it
watch
with
my
no
show, or is this your
research.
first time catching my show?
Dude, I watch TV. I ain't got no time for you and your clown
Well, then how
tactics,
come you
man.
called?
Because I don't like you. I
You
want
don't
to
like
know
me?
how
Okay.
much you research.
Oh, not much at all. I
Okay,
rely
thank
on
you.
Dylan
That's all I wanted to know.
Burns. I rely on Dylan Burns and callers and chat and CNN and a little bit
you're
of X.
only-
I don't trust that Dylan
You're only
Burns fella.
half-
That's
you're
not a
only like-
reliable source.
Yeah, I
you're-
fight
so
against Dylan Burns and CNN a lot.
Yeah, well, it's good to know that you're only coming at this with like you're coming after a gunfight with like a fork.
So what do you mean
know?
I'm going after single moms?
You're going after single moms by trying to take money away from single women
Because it's
who
not
are
their
already
money. It's our
already
money.
victims of capitalism. Already twice victimized by capitalism,
Oh,
and
no.
you want to go in for the third round.
Are you a Dylan Burns fan, or you just came across my show? How'd you come across it? The world?
I told you, man. I watch TV. I'm a fucking TV fan.
Well, keep it clean.
All right.
TV
All right,
fan.
keep it clean.
Yeah, thank
Okay,
you.
I'm going to keep it clean. You're going to potty up the world with poor mothers and malnutritioned public school children.
Yes.
But I'm the guy that's got to shut my face. Yeah, good one, dude.
Well, you don't
Why
have to
don't
shut
you
your
go
face. Just
read
don't
a
say the F
Bible?
word. I read
Huh?
the Bible already once.
I don't think you did.
Well, just
I
because
don't think
you
you
don't
read
think
anything.
so.
I think you're lying all the time about the things that you know and the things that you don't know. I
Well,
think
the
you're a
Bible
liar.
says if a man will not work, he shall not eat. I think that might
Dude.
be why Dylan Burns is questioning Christianity a little bit. Because
Well, the Bible,
Christians,
if you haven't
Never mind.
noticed, like
I
the
won't go
Bible
there.
is pretty cruel, man. It
Yeah.
is not.
So then
It's
why are you
not a
mad?
book.
Wait, can
It's
I?
not
wait,
a book
question,
meant to
Hank.
build a proper
if a man
society.
shall not work, shall not eat. If
Yeah.
a child's going to school, the child's about to work. You go. I'm
What
sure
if
when you
there
were
is no
7, your
man?
school was definitely work.
Wait,
trying to
wait,
figure
wait.
out. I remember going into middle school. There's letters and math now. That's
I know.
ridiculous. Who decided this? Who? I wasn't
Well,
consulted.
dude, just because
They deserve to. You know, if they're going to work, they deserve a meal, a school lunch.
from
they deserve breakfast, lunch, and like a little snack when they get out of there. Honestly, they're the future of America, and you're starving them. You're literally starving the American dream.
no, the parents are
because you're so
starving them. If
selfish
that's
with
true,
your little Bible quotes.
if they're starving, it's the parents' fault.
It's not the parents' fault if they're starving if they live in a food desert, or if their parents
Even at
were
7-Eleven,
blown up.
they have apples and bananas, man.
7-Elevens aren't everywhere, dude. I don't know how you get out or where you put your
There's
feet.
7-Elevens in
But
the
some
food
places
deserts.
there are no 7-Elevens.
Food deserts means all you have is fast food and a little bit of grocery stores.
No, food deserts mean you have to travel to go get stuff. They closed down all these Walmarts last month
Uh-huh.
in like rural America, and people literally have to drive 100 miles now to the other Walmart to get food.
But those are
And this is because
people
policies-
those are responsible people. You're talking about food deserts as if it's in people in the ghetto and they have to travel to like another city because the people are the crime is so bad that it's shutting down the businesses. It's food deserts of
can I
their own
ask you-
making.
Where does all this information come from? Did you get it from the CNN blurb in the morning?
No, CNN doesn't tell me the truth like that.
Oh, they don't tell you the truth, but you read lies every morning.
Well, facts.
And then you come
facts
on
that
the line
aren't
and-
necessarily that pertinent, but I have a little bit of common sense that crime
Oh,
causes,
very little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crime causes poverty, not the other way around.
What are you even thinking about? How does crime cause poverty?
Yes.
Can,
You
I don't know
steal
if I
from
can
poor
butt in for a
people?
second.
Yeah.
But
As
do you
an
really
ex-criminal,
think
I
you don't
might
think
tell
that
you that
somebody
that's
has
not
ever
true.
committed a crime because they were hungry and were poor, or that they were like? You don't think poverty at all pushes anyone to commit crime? It's the other way around completely. Just the crime falls and then poverty descends, like the cry falls upon the city.
We're speaking in general terms. So on occasion, somebody might steal an apple because they're hungry, or usually not Skittles. They usually steal Skittles because they're greedy. Go ahead.
I mean, like if you're
Is this, what are you
in a
talking about,
community.
man?
I've been in communities. I remember my father, and I didn't live with my father, but my father lived in a community where there wasn't a lot of job opportunities for people who were up and coming. And maybe you could work at the corner store. That's something you could do. Maybe at the pawn shop, so you could take grandmother's old golden rings and sell them while she cries because she needs to make maybe you could do that. But there's not a lot of good, honest work in the community, and so they see gang life, they see an opportunity to make quick money, and people think, it might not be right, but at the end of the day, I'd rather not be hungry, I'd rather have money in my pocket, and I'd rather be able to clothe myself than slowly descending in dignity and under in this environment. Definitely, since there's also not enough jobs to go around. As you just saw recently from the jobs reports, there's now less jobs than there are unemployed people. And so that means for some people, they're going to just lose out.
But that's because there's so much crime. You're talking about all the, like, a lack of businesses. There's a lack of
crime doesn't just manifest. Poverty is one of many things that creates crimes.
No. Crime causes the poverty. It causes the
Do you think that if crime is what causes poverty, then why is it that those who engage in muggings and drug dealings and these types of crimes are largely poor people? Why isn't it like Bill Gates out of nowhere? If this is how crime happens, Bill Gates would go out there and start shoplifting. There are people who do this. There are some wealthy people who do it, but it's largely concentrated in impoverished, poor communities, and it's largely poor people doing it. So I think there has to be a connection here,
There's a connection
between people
they
joining the cowboys that are going to go cattle rustle and their farm being burnt down because now they have no option,
Because there's generations of criminals, and then there's and it just cause poverty, even not amongst just themselves, but one another.
Hey,
a lot of cattle rustlers back in the day
you have to keep
were
it clean,
people
man.
whose own farms had been victimized.
Right.
And then they, after losing everything, became cattle rustlers.
Yeah, see, crime causes poverty.
It was the crime. If you're saying crime causes poverty,
right?
But then the poverty, them being impoverished, helped create crime. It compounds each other. These are two things that are kind of, partners, if you will.
You're not going to.
How there's four horsemen?
You're not going to commit a crime because you're poor. You're going to commit crime because you're a criminal in the spirit.
Rich people commit crime.
Makes you more likely to be a criminal. It's one of many things that can motivate you to become a criminal.
If you have poor morals, then you're going to be poor in general. Sometimes you'll be rich. Oh, he dropped. And then sometimes you're going to be a criminal. But poor morality causes both crime and poverty, but the crime definitely causes way more poverty than the other way around. Nice.
I disagree. I do think that crime causes more poverty, but I think poverty is the first domino that then exponentially makes it worse, and then crime then makes it even worse because no one wants to be around a community filled with crime. That creates flight, which then takes away more wealth, which then creates more poverty, which then creates even less opportunities.
But you've taken the spirit out of everything. You're turning into one of those communist atheists type people who just act like it's like you're a victim of circumstance, whereas you could be.
I didn't say people are just a victim of circumstance. People have to take personal responsibility. But if there is a field of crops that get sunlight, they're going to be more likely to succeed than the field of crops that was grown in a cave.
You can't keep a good plant down.
In a cave, you can.
All right, we have way too many callers.
You're popular.
You're popular, actually. Tell the people how to find you, because I don't want to run out of time before you be able to promote your stuff.
Hey, I'm fine to keep going for a bit. I mean, I'm wide awake.
6 minutes.
6 minutes? You only have 6 minutes left? My goodness. Okay. Got you. People can find me at Dylan Burns TV on YouTube and Dylan Burns Live on YouTube if they want my daily takes. Dylan Burns TV for my documentaries, and Offbeat Research if you're more of a reader and you want to read my articles.
Right on, man. And Dylan Burns 1776 on X. Don't harass him, guys. And no doxing either. By the way, I don't know if you're interested in talking about it, but I heard that there's like a lot of, I gather that there's like infighting and nastiness and all kinds of doxing and accusations and gossip and mess happening not just on the right, but on you guys' side too.
Well, I don't want to, drama's drama, and I'm a grown man, and I
Yeah.
shouldn't talk and prattle like a schoolgirl. But I will just say, my street was shown, on stream, and that's a bummer.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it is what it is. I practice the Second Amendment.
Well, yeah, be safe, man. Wish you well. Okay. Let us get to Tyler, a first-time caller out of Alabama, and we're going to have to wrap up. American Anchor Baby is on next. That's Nick, the American Anchor Baby. What's up, Tyler? First-time caller out of Alabama.
I mean, I was going to talk to Dylan, so I guess I'll hang up. You have a good day.
No, Dylan Burns is here. What are you doing?
Oh, is he here? Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'm still here.
My bad. Just a few, I guess real quick. How can you be a Christian and not want to take care of people? I'm a Christian, and I try to do community outreach all the time. I think it's sinful to just ignore people.
Sinful to ignore people?
Yes.
And
heavily.
Your question is for Dylan?
Yes. No, sorry, it's for you. Dylan,
okay.
I'm cool with Dylan.
Oh,
I respect
okay.
everything he does.
You're a Dylan listener, not a Hake listener, or both?
I'm a Dylan listener. I
Nice.
think I don't really listen to you, I'm afraid.
Have you called into my show before? I feel like I might have heard your voice before.
Oh, no, I'm just an average dude. I sound like everybody else.
So are you a Christian?
Yeah, actually, heavily.
Nice.
I believe that, we're the God, but I'm not one of those guys who's going to shove it down your throat.
Right on. Well, if you take care of people, you're actually spoiling them. You're not helping them. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, can you say that to my mother who had to raise 3 kids by herself after her, I guess, my father's left? What do you do with that? Is that spoiling us so we didn't die?
I don't think that you guys were going to die without somebody's help. I think that she
No,
was
we would
able to
have.
help herself.
We would have. It would have been hell, and then sorry, my apologies. I didn't mean to cuss.
Hell's
and then we
okay
would have
to
been
say, I
in.
think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get
The imagery of seeing 3 starving children because you don't deserve it because you're spoiling them is a bit sick in my stomach.
I know, but that's an exaggeration because kids aren't starving. At
Exaggeration.
School, right?
I live in Alabama. I've
Yes.
seen so many people dying from poverty.
Dying from poverty in Alabama?
You know how bad it is down here?
I
We're
get
a
that
Republican
it's poor.
state, and the poverty line is the worst in the country.
I've heard that because there's like a lot of it's rural blacks and a lot of. I think people in Alabama are fat. They're not starving. Correct me if I'm
Yeah,
wrong.
I guess that's true. So you're making fun of people who are just like down here too.
I'm
Doesn't
not
matter
making
about that
fun
kind
of
of
them.
stuff.
I'm just pointing out that they're not starving.
No, you can make
and
fun of them,
dying
man. Fine. No, make fun of people. Be a good Christian. Come on, keep doing it.
Well, I wasn't making fun of them. I was just pointing out that they're fat.
They're fat. Yeah.
They're fat,
yeah.
not starving. Now you have Dylan just cracking up on stream, and I don't think he's laughing at the poor people. I think he's laughing at me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't doubt him. I laugh at you too.
Stuff that's kind of edgy, but I'm pointing out that people aren't really dying from poverty in America.
You live in Alabama?
No,
Where do you live?
L.A.
Oh, you live in L.A. with all those Democrats and like pedophiles? Wow, man. Why don't you come down here?
I don't know about pedophiles. I mean, I see these alerts from the Citizen app that this person has a crime
More money,
involving
right?
minors.
More
but
money.
I don't buy it. You don't buy the
Hey,
Epstein
Dylan.
stuff, do you, Dylan? Dylan.
Sorry, what?
You don't buy
You
it.
lost me. Going.
You don't buy that. We have 1 minute and a half. You don't buy the
Oh, my bad.
Epstein drama, do you? Side note.
I mean, what do you mean Epstein drama? I mean, Epstein,
They're
diddled
like,
a bunch
oh.
of kids. That's not really a drama.
just
That's just
him,
kind
though.
of like criminal fact.
Yeah.
If you mean like whether or not Trump's in leagues with Epstein, he said he would release the files. Kash Patel said he would release the files. They all made this big show of the files.
Yeah.
They were going to be the one to drain the swamp, and now they're the ones protecting the swamp. That's the whole thing. It's not a drama.
But Epstein's
it's
not
just
the
what's
swamp,
happening.
right? Is Epstein the swamp?
Hey, am I still here, by the
Epstein
way?
is
you
the
are.
swampiest swamp. 'Cause
Okay.
Epstein is
Before
like the
I-
Loch Ness monster of the swamp. What do you
but
mean?
He's gone now. That's nothing.
Before it ends,
Yeah.
hey, Dylan, I respect everything you do. You're brave, and I hope you make it out.
I
of that
appreciate
place
you calling,
alive.
Tyler. It's a good call, actually.
Yeah, and good luck with, you got shot, didn't you?
Shot?
I got
I
shot.
heard like a sniper thing. I may,
no,
I,
oh,
I
no,
may
that
have
was fake.
misread
I
that.
saw that.
I didn't get shot.
He got
Okay,
sniper
good.
fire, but it was metaphorical or something like that.
I get you. Yeah,
On
that
X.
moron. Gotcha. All right, we have a good day, man. Nice talking to you, Hank.
Yeah.
I'll see you in hell.
Thanks, man. Wow.
Damn. Sorry, excuse my
He's a
French,
Christian.
but woof.
Well, with that, we got.
I don't think he likes you.
No, we love each other. That's how we show our.
That's how you show
appreciation.
affection.
It's Christian. Thanks, man.
Good Christian love.
Well, great conversation. I appreciate you coming on, and my apologies for the mix-up at the beginning. Take care, Dylan.
No worries, and sorry to all the callers that didn't get to call in and I didn't get to talk to.
Yeah.
If you want to reach me, it's dylanburnstv@gmail.com. I respond to most emails unless it's really stupid. So just send me an email unless it's really stupid.
Thanks, guys. Take care. Peace in the Middle East.
Bye-bye.
Or at least in your hearts. Take care.